This is a special edition of the GuestX podcast, coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the Phocuswright Conference 2021, where we'll be speaking to the leading hospitality executives to understand how they're building guest experience worth talking about.
Day 3 here at the Phocuswright Summit in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Brian Hamali, my co-host and partner on the GuestX podcast, and I are here, and with a really kind of a cool young guest. I tell you what, in sitting here, I'm not sure if I've gotten old or if the younger generation is just a lot smarter than I was when I was at their age. But
maybe a little bit of both.
Probably. But we've got Daniel Peña here, who's the CEO of LocalAdventures, and which is interesting. They focus on multi-day experiences, but cater or focus that to the Latin American market.
That's right.
And it was interesting as we were getting started here and kind of talking with Daniel to hear why he's kind of done that. The company's about 5 years old now. Really, the maturity level, Daniel, of understanding who your clients are and who they're not, that takes a lot of discipline. But maybe you could start by just giving our listeners just a little bit of background on the company and what you guys are doing.
Sure. It's great being here, talking to you guys. So basically what we do in LocalAdventures is we select the best experiences around the world, multi-day, every time. And we then sell those experiences to the Latin American consumer. Why the Latin American consumer? Because the type of behavior they have versus other developed markets as the US, Europe, Asia, is pretty different in the value propositions they need, just as financing, just as internet penetration, just as an online and offline mix in the customer service and experience that they need. So basically what we do best is focusing on those type of consumers and travelers.
It's very interesting because we, as an ecosystem here in the US, we think everybody transacts and consumes data and consumes travel exactly the same way. And the Latin American market, and it varies country by country how they consume. So tell us a little bit about the countries that you guys currently operate in and how you guys focus in those countries, selling products and experiences to those countries.
Right, so our main countries are first Mexico, then Colombia, and the rest of Latin America is kind of fragmented, so I wouldn't like choose a winner there. But yes, what is special is that even if it's Latin America, the consumer is very different, like from Mexico to Colombia, right? So the type of product they want is different, how they want to buy it, how even they relate to the products, it's different. So the challenge here is trying to understand every market and doing a hyper personalization for those guys, right? So that's also a very big entry barrier, but that's what they need, right?
Yeah. But it also, by figuring out the right combination, it creates a barrier to competition.
Right.
I mean, that's tough. They can't write algorithms to figure those things out. I mean, you've got to really get in there through trial and error. And I imagine as you guys have expanded into maybe various countries within Latin America, there's going to be some misses. You're going to put together some packages, some experiences, and they're not going to land. How do you do that? Do you have local representatives from each of these countries? How do you begin to, as you look at a market and go, okay, how are we going to get in? How are you gaining that knowledge?
Right. So to give you an example, our headquarters are in Mexico, but when we open a new country, like talking about Colombia, what we look for it's market analysts. So we have to have a mix of data and people in the country that knows the market in terms of giving us enough information of how to focus on the certain consumer, etc. So yes, so we need a team in the country we're opening if we want to make that relevant for them.
It is.
And do you sell the product direct to the consumer, or do you go through, in Latin America, the travel agents, the international tour operators, or are you going B2B to C? What has been your channel of distribution?
like our most important channel is B2C, so we go directly to consumer, but we're also having distribution like in the B2B side. A lot of these travel agents, they like our product because just I mentioned, we don't just get it and distribute it. We also work with the local operators to modify a little bit the experience, like in terms of maybe adding a Spanish speaking guide. So that type of things are very relevant for other travel agencies, and they want to distribute their product too.
So we're very used to seeing South American, Latin American travelers come to the U.S. Give us a little bit of some fun facts about the actual how many travelers come to the U.S.
Right. So this is a fun fact. Like the US right now, in terms of for consumers, is not like the most relevant market.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we do think, like when we think about Brazil, Orlando, right? Maybe outside the UK.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Pretty much.
You would know better than I do. So where are they focused?
Right. And I'll tell you, I will tell you why. Because let's say from Latin America, more than 7 out of 10 people haven't traveled internationally. Now, talking about the US, we need a visa, right? Now, the process for getting that visa, it's complex, but also it's not reachable for a lot of type of profiles, right? So we're saying that just a few people have access to the US market, so they are looking for other kind of countries and borders that are maybe more open to them. For us, it's like talking about right now, Egypt, right? Uh, Maybe Canada. It's easier. You still need a visa, but it's easier to get it, right? Talking about Peru, like other countries in South America, like Mexicans going to Peru, Colombians going to Mexico, little bit of Asia, right? It's becoming more and more trendy. Before the pandemic, now borders are closed and it's way more complicated. But it was Thailand, it was India, very relevant also. So it's getting like a mix of all over the world. Yep.
It's interesting because I would guess that travel across the border from within Latin America is probably that's the next most comfortable thing to
Right.
say in your own country, right? The language barriers aren't there, and some of the experiences and what you're going to expect.
Right, right.
And then they probably maybe start to branch out from
Right.
there. It's fascinating. So tell us how the conference has, the summit's gone for you. Is this your first time to the Phocuswright Summit?
It is, yes.
It is, okay. That's. I think maybe this
That's
might
fun.
be the first person who's been. Yeah. So what have you noticed? What's going to be some of your takeaways?
Right. So for me, the first takeaway is networking. It's just impressive how you can network here. In my experience, I think it's the best event I've been in terms of networking. I was participating in the Young Leaders Summit, so I was meeting a bunch of folks that they have impressive companies, impressive track record. I was having also dinners with some of the most important profiles of the industry. So it's just a lot of information, a lot of connections, but it's worth it 100%. Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. And to tell people a little bit about that Young Leaders Summit. So it's the day before the summit actually started. Is that right? Did you guys get together and get to meet and have some mentors, have talked to you about different subjects for our listeners who have never been? Talk to them a little bit about that program.
Right. So it's happening during the same event. Like it started during. It was on Monday.
Yep.
So what we have is we have special events just for the young leader participants. You get mentors like I personally like got Fred, founder of Hopper. There was
Good mentor.
Very good.
very good mentor, impressive. And this type of profiles, either you have dinner with them, you have lunch, or you just have round tables. And also the other guys participating with you, they are from other countries, other markets. You always learn from everyone.
I don't think it's something that people appreciate enough. Is the way that Phocuswright is focused. Well, pardon the pun, on giving back.
They're investing.
They're investing. I love that word. They're investing in bringing up the next generation entrepreneurs, whether it be in tech, operations, what have you. And
They're connecting the leaders.
it's great to see. It really, really is. Well, so, last question for you, Daniel. I mean, so what the purpose of coming, obviously, to learn, at that Young Leader Summit, are you raising capital? Where is the company? Was that part of the visit? Tell us what some of your goals were.
Right. So our main goal, like short-term plans, is basically becoming the leader in all of LATAM without mentioning Brazil for now. Yeah, but Spanish-speaking LATAM. Yes, our main objectives here were making the connections for fundraising, but next year. That's our plan.
Yep.
First or second Q of next year. And also going to the supply side and the distribution side. So we're just trying to grow our B2B network. And yeah, it's working. A lot of interesting meetings so far.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yes.
you, guys.
And I should tell people before we got on, I asked Daniel how long he had been operating. He said 5 years and one pandemic, so it's really 15 years.
Probably the best answer I've heard.
Absolutely the
Yeah.
best answer ever. Daniel, thank you. I know time is at a premium here at the Phocuswright Summit. We appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us.
No, thank you for the invitation. It's been pretty fun. Thanks.
Absolutely.